Today I'm working in sleep medicine, so that will be exciting. I have worked sort of in sleep medicine before, but this department used to be combined with pulmonology, and now this is actually their first day as a separate clinic in a totally different location. So I'm kind of just on today as an extra set of hands if they need anything, because this is a pretty big transition. I think that puts a lot less pressure on me today because I know they'll be fully staffed and I am there to help rather than to cover for someone. So I'm excited, and I'm excited to see the new location. I think it'll be cool. I'm bringing this muffin for breakfast and I'm so excited. If you are new here, my name is Olivia. I'm a float medical assistant, so I cover in over 150 different clinics, and it's super fun. I've just been sharing kind of my medical journey and taking you with me to all the different clinics I go to. That being said, I don't really film inside at all just because patient privacy is super important and I would never want to risk my job over filming content. But I promise I tell you everything I do and I film what I can. And I think today is one of the more unique days because sleep medicine is pretty niche. So yeah, I am working until 5 today, and then I'll go to the hospital gym because it's just right there. And then I will sit down and tell you all about what it's like to be a medical assistant in sleep medicine. I'm so cold. That was a really good workout. I just did a 30-minute elliptical and then a pole day. But now it is time to go home and I will sit down and tell you all about working in sleep medicine. You guys, you know that muffin from this morning? I forgot to take it to work, and so now it's just a sweet treat for afterward. But as you saw, I had Chick-fil-A for lunch, which was honestly great because I just ate half of my lunch for breakfast and then I had Chick-fil-A for lunch. But let's get into sleep medicine. So today was a little bit different because it was their first day in the new clinic, so I was just helping out. Normally when I work in sleep medicine, I'm rooming for a specific provider, and what usually happens is I get all the vitals, I reconcile their medications, get their pharmacy, their allergies, and then the thing that's a little different is I ask them the Epworth the Epworth Sleepiness Scale questions. So it's just a standardized questionnaire that kind of measures a person's sleepiness throughout the day. So it's framed where you answer all the questions as if it's in the afternoon, like after lunch. It's a scale from, oh gosh, I'm not gonna remember off the top of my head. I want to say like 1 to 3 or 0 to 3. And 0 is you would never doze off, and 3 is you have a high chance of dozing off. Hopefully I'm not way off with that scale. I didn't have to do any of those today, so it's not fresh on my mind. But one of them is like while watching television. So you would answer, if you were watching television in the afternoon, how likely are you to doze off on a scale from 0 to 3? And there's questions like while you're driving in the car in traffic, or while you're a passenger in a car for an hour-long drive, or while you're talking to someone, or while you're in a public place. And then the last question always makes people laugh a little bit. It's specifically worded as laying down to rest when circumstances permit. And I feel like they had to add that last part because people would always be like, what are you talking about? I never have time to rest in the afternoon. Anyways, they still do that. It's kind of silly. That is the main difference. A lot of the patients we see are coming in because they have obstructive sleep apnea, which is when you essentially stop breathing periodically throughout the night, and it can mess with your oxygen levels and your quality of sleep. You can wake up feeling very not rested. So a lot of those patients go on CPAP machines when they sleep. So I know the normal MAs print off CPAP compliance reports that I think kind of take all the data from the CPAP machine, and that way the doctor's able to see if they're being compliant and if it's working. I honestly don't know too much of the details. I do know they send a lot of patients to get sleep studies done before they officially diagnose anything. There's usually a few like new patients who come in for snoring or for fatigue or just not feeling rested. I did see a patient in a couple days coming in for narcolepsy with cataplexy. So that's excessive daytime drowsiness, and sometimes it can be brought on by strong emotions and things like that. So there is a little bit of variability, but at least in this clinic with these providers, so much of it is obstructive sleep apnea. What I did today, I didn't room a single patient. Like I said, I was just helping out. So the normal MA had me print off visit summaries from every patient's last visit for the whole week for one specific provider. And then, like my whole job today was just printing things. And then the printer broke, so that was exciting. Luckily we got it fixed eventually, but I felt bad because, I don't know, I didn't do a whole ton to help out today, but again, they were just kind of getting settled. There weren't that many patients. I was just trying to help them ease into their new clinic. But because the printer was broken and I kind of had some extra time, and they said they didn't really need any help for those couple hours that it was broken, I was able to get so much work done on my training plan for some new hires we have coming into the float pool. So I'm what they call an MA senior, which basically just means that I am allowed to train new hires, and we have a very specific process where there's like this huge list of competencies that you have to pass off before you can work on your own. I mean, it's kind of overwhelming. Like, we have 2 hours to pass off all the competencies each session, and especially on the first session there's just so many different things. So what I did is I organized it into first things that we can like perform together and I can watch them do. So things like setting up trays for procedures, or I don't know, like talking through how you would do an EKG. Then I did things that I will show them on the computer, and these are mostly charting things, like how to chart everything on the EMR, but also like where to go if you have to fill out a safety report if something happens at work. And then the last section is just things you discuss. And so these are things like signs of abuse and neglect that you want to look out for, really specific niche things like how to administer a metered dose inhaler that we don't really do that often, but I still need to talk through with them. So anyways, it was actually such a blessing to have those 2 hours just to like create a plan, because otherwise I think I'd just be reading through the list and trying to train the new MAs, and it would just be a hot mess, and I don't think we would get through it all. So I'm looking forward to that in a couple days. I think sleep medicine is really interesting. There are a lot more sleep disorders than what I talked about, and you will see that in sleep medicine, especially if you're there consistently. But at least at this clinic, sleep apnea is just super common. And yeah, today was a great way to start my week because today's Monday, and so I just kind of eased in, started helping. And I honestly have a pretty light rest of my week. I have one standby shift and then a few partial shifts and some trainings, so it's gonna be good. Tonight I'm going to my college's art museum to do a scavenger hunt with some friends, and I definitely need to eat dinner super fast before I go. I just changed, I'm about to head out the door, but I did forget to mention the MA that I worked with today was so sweet. She's just normally super bubbly and I get along great with her, it's always fun. But I hadn't told her yet that I got into PA school, and she, honestly, it might have been the best reaction out of anyone that I've told so far. She was so happy for me and so proud, and especially as a float, sometimes it can be a little isolating not having friends that you see every day at work. And so yeah, it just meant a lot to me that she was so invested and so excited for me. So shout out to her for making my day even better. Okay, I'm back. I'm really really glad I went to that. That was fun. I feel like anytime I do anything related to the arts, whether it's like go to a classical music concert or a dance performance or an art museum, I forget how pleasant it is and how it is just so beautiful. I obviously really love medicine. I really value science. And I even like to create art, but I don't know, I just really love the arts and appreciating other people's art. And every time I do something like that, I'm like, why don't I do this more? This is so amazing and inspiring. So that was awesome. It's only 8:15, believe it or not. I feel like I am just making use of every second of this day. But I'm gonna make a to-do list for tomorrow because I have some extra time to do things. And I'm gonna pick up my room a little bit. Then I'm going to work on my Christmas present for my grandparents. I'll give you a little sneak peek, but on the very off chance that they watch this, I don't want them to totally know what's going on. So yeah, I usually turn on a show when I do this and kind of wind down. I'll light a candle. So let's get to it.